Well, this is the day that we've been given. Let us celebrate and enjoy, because this is the day that we have been given. The breath of life, the ability to be together, the ability to come in different doors, but come in one accord, to try to help make this world a better place, to help make ourselves better people. I'm Marlon Lavenhar. I'm the senior minister here at All Souls, and I want to welcome you to The Point. It is our Humanist hour. It is a place for seekers of all kinds and a place for us to ask questions and explore different ideas and to leave room for each person to use their own mind and their own conscience to direct their lives without any proselytizing or any attempt to try to change people from where their hearts and their essence call them to be. So welcome, and I would invite you to join me in the words of the All Souls Covenant, which is printed here in your program. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Welcome to All Souls, where we love beyond belief. At this time, I'd like to invite a dear friend of mine, of our most recent past president of the church, Floretta Reed, who lit our chalice in the earlier service, and I'm going to ask her to read those words again for us, if you would, Flo. We were celebrating the 100th birthday of one of our members, George Crumey, at the 10 o'clock service. There might be even some birthday cake left out there. If there is, I hope you'll enjoy it.
Good morning. On behalf of the living presidents of this church, we light this flame to brighten our world that we might see each other more clearly. We light this chancel to remind us of our highest aspiration. Let this morning be the beginning of something new within us. Let this morning be the beginning of something new between us.
Thank you. So I see we have a few children with us this morning. It's great to see you. It's great to see your faces. Yeah. And we have our all choirs concert today at 4 o'clock. And so I hope you can come to that. But a lot of our children and youth and everybody are getting prepared for that. And so I'm just so glad. I was concerned that we might not have any children with us this morning. I'm glad to see you all here because I have a message. I want us to think about children. I want us to think about babies. What can babies do? I mean, what are babies good at? Any of the children have any thoughts about what they're? Oh, okay. Oh, you were in the earlier service, so that's good. You can help me out. What are they good at? Crying. Screaming. Excreting. That's a nice way of saying it. Yes, young girl in the back, and then, what was that? Screaming. Yeah, exactly. And? Stinking. Exactly. So in essence, babies really can't do very much. You know, they might look kind of cute, but there's not a lot. They can't feed themselves. They can't clothe themselves. There's just not a lot that they can do. And so I want us to be thinking about baby. Now, of course, they need help, right? Because they can't do all that stuff. So who usually helps babies? Yes? Their parents, yeah. Anyone else sometimes? Yes? Grandparents, that's right. An aunt, right? Other family members, maybe other friends, right? So I want us to think about. Right now, it's the Christmas season all over. You're seeing, if you walk. I went to Lowe's yesterday. There was Santa Claus. I was impressed to see there was a white Santa Claus, a black Santa Claus. There's like all kinds of Santa Claus, and I'm like, this is great. We're really entered a new era, and so Christmas is everywhere. And I want us to think about babies and how they need so much care just to survive, just to stay alive. And think about this Christmas story, because in the Christmas story, we're told that God was born as a little baby, okay? Now, of course, here we are at the point, and so I do want to make sure everybody knows that one of the beautiful things about being at All Souls is that our children and all of us at all ages, we get a chance to think about this story throughout our lifetime. We may believe that Jesus was God, or Jesus was human, or Jesus, we can have all kinds of different beliefs. And it's our freedom to explore and decide. But in this story, the way most people look at it, there's this idea that God was born as a little baby. So I want to say that what the point is, one point that we can make of this story is that important people can come from very humble beginnings, right? Because in that story, Jesus was born as a baby, just like the rest of us. So we don't know where, the young people, where your life is what you're gonna do with your life. But we also know that you need the help of your parents, and you can help your parents. And so what I want you to keep in mind is that this Christmas season is, where can you find something that needs your help in order to be alive or survive? Okay, think, what are some small things in your world that might need your help to stay alive and to survive? And I want you to care for those things as a part of your Christmas time season, remembering that we can help things to survive and to blossom and to become all that they can be. So that is our story for this morning for our children, and I invite you to go to your Sunday school classrooms to enjoy class with Shannon. You can follow Shannon, and it was great to see you this morning. I hope you can come back at 4 o'clock for the choir concert. We want to take a minute, as we do in the point every week, to remember important moments or transitions in people's lives. There's a couple I mentioned earlier, the 100th birthday of our member George Crumey. He was a president of this congregation many years ago, and at our 100th anniversary last year, we made him honorary president for life of the church. So we'll see how long he's able to hold on to that title, but I hope it's a long time. He's a truly dear person, and he was with us this morning. I'm also thinking about Daniel Aston. You may know him or heard his name. He's one of the 5 people who was murdered at Club Q in Colorado. And his family reached out to us and friends to ask if we would do a service on Friday, a memorial service for him. So we're going to be doing that, Randy Lewis and I, and Rick Fortner playing some music. But we're thinking about him and his life and all of the people who died there. And also, I want to lift up that the family and friends thought, All Souls, this is where, if we're going to do this, if we're going to remember his life, if we're going to honor him, that's a place where that could happen, and it could be done well, and it could be done in a way that really honors him and honors the moment of what's happening in our country right now and what's happening in our world, especially vis-a-vis transgender people and gay and lesbian people, how they're being used and scapegoated and with violent ends. So this is real. It's real stuff. It's a real moment. And so I want us to keep that family in our hearts, and we want you to keep me and Randy and Rick in your hearts as we prepare for Friday's service. And let us take a moment of silence to think of all the joys and sorrows in our hearts this morning. So our theme this month at All Souls, we have a monthly theme every month. They're on a 3-year rotation, and so we have things like forgiveness and justice and truth and mercy and just all kinds of themes that really make our life, make our life meaningful, make our life livable. So we have to learn these lessons, whether we're humanists or whether we believe in God or don't believe in God or whatever, wherever we're coming from. They're still important themes. So one of the themes is God. So it's a kind of an awkward theme for a humanist service and to think about every 3 years when it comes around. How are we going to talk about that theme? And you might wonder, like, why would we talk about God at all in a humanist service? And yet, the truth is that we all have to deal with this idea of God, whether we accept it or reject it or question it. It's still something that's very much in our lives, in our families' lives, in our neighbors' lives. So it's still something that we're always grappling with. And so for next week, I think, if I can get it together, I'm going to do a message on, was Jesus God? My answer is no. I'll give you a little. But I think it's something that we need to talk about. Where does that come from? Where does such an answer come from historically and the rest of it? But so today we're going to be talking about God, but I'm not making a case for God. God's not the problem, it's her followers. Thank you. Just help me out here with this sermon. But listen to this answer given by a Lutheran minister, Nadia Bowles-Weber, when a member of her church asked the following question. Asked, Pastor Nadia, what do you do personally to get closer to God? Before I even realized it, she says, I was saying it. I replied, what? Nothing. Sounds like a horrible idea to me, trying to get closer to God. Half the time I wish God would leave me alone. Getting closer to God might mean getting told to love someone I don't even like, or to give away even more of my money. It might mean letting some idea or dream that is dear to me get ripped away. So Reverend Bowles-Weber makes a really good point that just living in accord with our highest values, whatever we might call that, usually causes a person to have to make some hard decisions. Now, Sarah Adams, who's an author, she's taken a very different approach. Instead of trying to come closer to God, she focuses on the pizza delivery guy. Listen to this. She writes, if I have one operating philosophy about life, it's this. Be cool to the pizza delivery dude. It's good luck. 4 principles guide the pizza dude philosophy. Principle 1, coolness to the pizza delivery dude is a practice in humility and forgiveness. I let him cut me off in traffic. Let him safely hit the exit ramp from the left lane. Let him forget to use his blinker without extending any of my digits out the window or towards the horn. Because there should be one moment in my harried life when a car may encroach or cut off or pass, and I let it go. Sometimes when I become so certain of my ownership of my lane, daring anyone to challenge me, the pizza dude speeds by me in his rusted Chevette, his pizza light atop his car, glowing like a beacon, reminds me to check myself as I flow through the world. After all, the dude is delivering pizza to young and old, families and singles, gays and straights, blacks, whites and browns, rich and poor, vegetarian and meat lovers alike. As he journeys, I give safe passage, practice restraint, show courtesy, and contain my anger. Principle 2, coolness to the pizza delivery dude is a practice in empathy. Let's face it, we've all taken jobs just to have a job because some money is better than none. I've held an assortment of these jobs and was grateful for the paycheck that meant I didn't have to share my Cheerios with my cat. In the big pizza wheel of life, sometimes you're the hot bubbly cheese and sometimes you're the burnt crust. It's good to remember the fickle spinning of that wheel. Principle 3. Coolness to the pizza delivery dude is a practice in honor, and it reminds me to honor honest work. Let me tell you something about these dudes. They never took over a company, and as CEO artificially inflated the value of the stock and cashed out their own shares, bringing the company to the brink of bankruptcy, resulting in 20,000 people losing their jobs while the CEO builds a home the size of a luxury hotel. Rather, the dudes sleep the sleep of the just. Principle 4. Coolness to the pizza delivery dude is a practice in equality. My measurements as a human being, my worth, is the pride I have in performing my job, any job, and the respect with which I treat others. I am the equal of the world. Not because of the car I drive, the size of the TV I own, the weight I can bench press, or the calculus equations I can solve. I am the equal to all I meet because of the kindness in my heart. And it all starts here with the pizza delivery dude. Tip him well, friends and brethren, for that which you bestow freely and willingly will bring you all the happy luck that a grateful universe knows how to return. Now, I have to hand it to Sarah Adams that hers is a pretty sound religion, really. We could call it pizza delivery dudism, which I know it sounds like a mouthful, but it is still one less syllable than Unitarian Universalism. Will Willimon reminds us that in his teachings and preaching, Jesus was forever calling people to calling people's attention to seemingly trivial things, the small and the insignificant, like lost children, lost coins, lost sheep, a mustard seed. The kingdom of heaven, as he called it, involves the ability to see divinity within the common people and experiences, people and things that the world regards as little and of no account, ordinary. Now, if Jesus were around today, maybe he too would have a saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a pizza deliverer. Or perhaps it's like a lost Bitcoin. I understand people lost a lot of those recently. I wasn't sure if it was too soon to make that comment. But as the Christmas season begins, as I was telling the young people, we're reminded of this story of God coming to the world as a little baby. Again, it's a metaphor, right? The way I look at it, it's a metaphor. That it's not, I don't think that the story of the virgin birth and God coming to the world as a little baby is a true story, but I think when I think of it this way, it actually makes sense to me. This idea that we can find the sacred, we can find divinity in even the littlest things, even in the most humble of people and circumstances. So you think about this story, it's kind of incredible in that it's not this idea, again, as a story, as a narrative, that God didn't come to the world as a king or an emperor, but through a peasant couple from the backwater village of Galilee. The story says that God was not born in a palace, but in a stable full of animals and straw. And we know what else is in a stable full of animals and straw. I think you called it excrement earlier. But yeah, it must have stunk like the dickens on that first Christmas morning. So if there's one clear message of this season and this narrative, it is that whatever we consider to be holy or sacred, it can be found in the most humble of places and people. So now, if we fast forward 19 centuries to America, and we listen to a Unitarian minister named Ralph Waldo Emerson, that's his picture up there on the wall. Emerson tells a story of listening to a pastor in his pulpit in Concord, Massachusetts, preaching for what must have been the 100th time about the same ancient story of a miracle. He was so bored, he was watching the snow falling out from the windows as he sat there in the pews, and he realized that the snow was a lot more inspiring than the message of this preacher. And it was a lot more of a miracle, something more miraculous than what it's this old story that was being regurgitated over and over again. And he said, why is it that people come to church to hear about miracles that supposedly happened 2,000 years ago? When did miracles stop happening? He said, all we can do is read about other people's experiences of them from a long, long time ago, as if they are no longer part of our everyday life? He said, miracles and divinity are all around us. We can see them in a child's face. We can see them in the grass and in the colorful trees. We can see them in the person right beside us. We can see them within ourselves, he said. So today, we follow Emerson's lead, and we look for miracles all around us and within us. I read recently of a minister who was leading a conference, and he asked the people who were there, have you ever, when have you ever had an experience of the sacred? A few people raised their hand, and they're like, well, 15 years ago, I was there, in this situation. Or someone else said, when I was a little kid, such and such happened. And this minister's thinking to himself, why is it that we have to go so far back to recall an experience of the holy? The minister thought, didn't anyone experience something sacred yesterday or today, this morning? So I was thinking about this as I celebrated my daughter. We celebrated my daughter's birthday yesterday. She had a bunch of friends over. And I thought about how she came into our lives was a miracle. The fact that our destinies, have intersected the way that they have is so deeply profound to me. And I think that's a miracle. And just Thanksgiving, my father came to visit, and he's 86 years old. He was helping me with house repairs around the house, as he's been known to do. He's taught me everything I know about fixing up the house. But he has 2 titanium knees. He has an artificial hip. He has a vein that they took from his calf, and they attached it to his heart, which allows him to stay alive. The man's a walking miracle. I said, Dad, you can just sit there and just tell me what to do. You don't have to, you don't have to get down on your knees and whatever. And he started out that way, but then pretty soon he's like, come on, give me the saw. Let's get this thing done, And he's just out there, and he's living his life. And Dorothy, you know my dad, and we'll be celebrating his 100th, I hope someday as well. But the thing is that these miracles, I texted somebody last night from across the world. And I'm looking at this phone, I'm like, this is a miracle. I don't even get how this happened. The person got it like that. And I'm thinking, there's so many miracles all around us right now. Christian Wyman wrote a book called My Bright Abyss, and in it he says, religion should not be about abstractions. We come to universal ideals through the particulars of our lives. The idea, he says, is to go deep in any one place and we will meet all places. When we start with the big universal ideas at the level of concepts and isms, we too often stay there arguing about our theories, and we can lose our own humanity in the process, and we can miss seeing other people's humanity. At that level, the mind is totally in charge. There are a lot of folks who say they love humanity, it's just people they can't stand. It's easy to love the universal. Sometimes it's hard to love the particular, but it's in the particular that we really understand ourselves and our lives and the people around us. There are people who, they will defend a principle of justice with their words or on their social media posts, right? But they can have a hard time mustering up the courage to actually live a just and loving life in their daily lives. So it is a call to find our religion, if you will, in the ordinary, in the everyday, rather than in grand theologies and big beliefs and holy abstractions. And I think that's one of the core messages of this season, that the sacred is in the everyday, every day. That which is most ultimate, most important, most vital to our lives is everywhere, every day. We just have to look for it and see it. Can you see it in the flame of a chalice? Can you see it in the person who lit our chalice this morning? The world is full of isms, and you can choose to follow these isms. The world is full of beliefs. There's more beliefs probably than there are people, it seems like, in this world, and lots of conspiracy theories and other things like that. There are many ideas about what makes a life worth living, and I hope that when you walk out of here today, that you will begin to see the heart of existence in a mustard seed, in a friend, in your families, in your neighbors, and even in strangers, in a cup of water, in a piece of fruit, even in a pizza delivery dude. This is a great time of year to pay attention to miracles, not just the ones that we read about from 2,000 years ago, but the ones that are all around us right now. Thank you.
When I visited with our beloved George Crummy, who's turning 100 this week, when I asked him what music he wanted, what could we do? He said, well, my favorite song out of that hymn book is Morning is Broken. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. And when Marlon said this morning, I wrote it down, the sacred is in the everyday, every day. When David and I put our hands on these keys and do that for you, that's a sacred moment. When I hear Lisa shout from the back, when I hear Lisa say from the back of this service, amen, I love that because she's just expressing her joy. And when I hear Andrew, that's a sacred moment. The sacred, he said the sacred is in the everyday, every day. So, in this last little sacred moment, I just want to tell you to be cool to the pizza delivery dude. Be cool to the pizza delivery dude. And that's about all I could work out backstage. But I'll keep you informed if I write anything else. But don't forget to be cool to the pizza delivery dude. Thank you.
Never know what Rick Fortner's going to come up with. Yesterday, one thing I didn't expect was that my wife and my daughter, they ordered a bunch of pizzas for her friends, and the delivery guy came, and of course it cost me a lot because I had to give him a really big tip. I thought, after everything I'm going to say tomorrow and everything I've been working out, I better tip this guy really well. So I gave him the biggest tip I've ever given to a pizza delivery guy, and I'll tell you, it felt good. It felt good. It felt right. We're going to have an offering in just a minute, and I hope you'll contribute, whether you're online or in person. It's for the people of Ukraine who are really suffering right now. We're going to do it through the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, which is helping some of the people who are on the ground in the Ukraine, families, the non-military folks who are just being brutalized and suffering. The winter's coming. They don't have a lot of heat and electricity. So anything you can give will go directly to support the people of the Ukraine. And so we'll take that up in just a second, but before we do, I want to announce a few things. They should be in your program with the details, but I just want to make sure, because so much is going on right now. We have a congregational meeting at 1 o'clock today where we're going to vote on the budget for 2023. We're one of those communities that the budget isn't just made in a back room somewhere. It actually requires the people to not only give the money, but also accept, this is what we're going to spend the money on. So I hope you'll come and be part of that meeting at 1 o'clock today. It'll be in our main sanctuary. And then the Community Resource Bank is going to pack groceries afterward for 144 families. And so if you want to stick around after and help pack those groceries, it's a lot of groceries, and it's going to go to help some people today. And then come back at 4 o'clock or stick around, because that's when our choir concert, all choirs, 6 choirs this year, 6 choirs this year, from our littlest all the way up. And if you're not in the holiday spirit yet, you will definitely leave here in the holiday spirit this evening. I see that our holiday memorial chapel's coming up. That's to remember those who've passed away in our lives during the holiday. It can be a space for that to happen. Our Alliance is meeting. You'll see that. And then I want to make sure you know that our candlelight, we do candlelight Christmas services every year, and we invite you to come and be a part of those if you'd like. We're going to do them a little differently this year. We have 3. They used to be 3 identical for the last, 70 years or something. But we're the 4:30 service where our littlest kids sing. We're going to make it a little more interactive and a little more child and kid friendly. So if you've got little ones, you might enjoy that service. Then at 6 o'clock, it'll be our traditional, if you've been coming here for 7 decades, and it'll be exactly what you're used to. We read from the King James Version of the Bible and sing all the hymns. We'll be singing the same carols at all the services and doing candlelights and singing Silent Night, all that stuff. And then at 7:30, we've invited Tommy Poole, and who's a jazz saxophone player, and some other people, and we're going to kind of lift up those carols a little more and give them a little jazz beat and a backbeat and have a little bit more fun and energy. And there will be our youth choir will be singing, and our alumni from the choirs usually come back, and it's a lot of fun. So there's something for everybody. Stick around for all 3 if you want. But I do want to just let you all know, because it's a humanist service, this is the Christmas Eve. We do Christmas Eve, and it's the carols. It's the usual. We try to make it a space where families can be together, whether you're Baptist, Unitarian, Humanist, whatever you are, everybody can feel welcome. So we just sing the carols, tell the stories, and we celebrate Christmas. It's not Buddha's birthday. It's not, something else. It's just a good old Christmas Eve candlelight service. We'd love to have you be a part of that if you'd like. Let us now receive our offering for the people of the Ukraine.
This is a Ukrainian Christmas carol, Carol of the Bells, which you'll hear now, but then you can come back today and hear the choir sing it, and you're definitely invited.
Beautiful. Yes, thank you. I didn't know that was a Ukrainian. So I love that song. This holidays, every holiday season can be a little crazy. It can be harried. It can be, there's so much going on, so many things pulling at us. I hope that as you go forth into this next couple of weeks, next few weeks, that you find time to stop and be present and take a deep breath and just appreciate the ordinary, a poinsettia, a lit candle, a beautiful friend, and just remember that this life is really precious. We talked about Ukraine, we talked about Club Q, we talked about all the stuff that's going on. We have the breath of life within us. This is the day that we've been given. This is the season that we've been given. For some reason, we're here. Let us use our lives to make a difference, a positive difference in this world. We got these little kids that we're trying to raise and have them come up, without a bunch of guilt and a bunch of, scary stories about who they are and who God is and all the rest of it. So we got our work to do, and I'm glad to be able to do it with all of you. Go forth. May your eyes see beauty. May your lips speak truth. May your heart know love. And may your hands do the good works of this world until we meet again. Thank you.